Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Friends by Design podcast, where we share practical tips, stories, and life lessons that will inspire you to design a life you truly love. We are your hosts, Janet,
And I'm Giselle.
and every week we have the chance to connect with you. So thank you so much for joining us. So 2023 is officially coming to an end.
Can you believe it?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Fast.
Fast.
Yeah. So our episode today, we're closing out the year. This is going to be our last podcast and of the year, that is. And we just want to do a little recap of, life events, world events, and
the highs, the
lows, everything that we encountered, as a society and as, in our personal lives this year. So where should we start? Let's talk about world events, right?
It's been a crazy year.
Yeah. From overturning of Roe versus Wade, the unfortunate wars that have gone on, the boom of AI, which is like incredible. We got to talk about that. And inflation rates and tipping fatigue and all this stuff that's like in our faces and
how about the Miami factor too? I mean, everybody moving here from all parts of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely.
Yeah, it's at a peak, I think, at this point.
Totally
it started
is.
Like during 2020 and now it's like insane. Like traffic is ridiculous in Miami at this point.
It is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about you, but part of the issue that I've been struggling this year with has been kind of this feeling, being an empath, feeling the world in pain.
Yeah.
So much hurt, so much pain all around us. And we're in the 1%, right? We're doing these high-end projects for our clients. We're in the high-end interior design business. And it just feels sometimes wrong for me.
Yeah.
It feels wrong for me. We just went through... Greedy, yeah. Like, we just went through Art Basel and going to like a gazillion events. And it just feels weird to be posting and to share
your fabulous life,
this fabulous, beautiful, privileged life we live, and
when people are struggling for life and death,
exactly
feeding their families, and are they going to find them in the wreckage and all these things.
It's just awful.
Yeah.
So I've been really struggling with that feeling of compassion for what our world's going through, and yet still feeling, blessed because of all the good things that have happened to our podcast, to our businesses, to the boom that Miami's having. And it's been great for us, but at the same time, seeing, some of our employees that have dealt with them, bringing this to their lives, and how they're affected and how we're all affected by it. We always talk about, our world being like the butterfly effect. We're all affected by everything that happens, all this hate and hurt and pain that our world's going through, and having to deal with this like weird position we're in.
Yeah. And still living in gratitude, and I think just live in gratitude, be thankful for what you have, but also, pray and send good energy to those that don't have it as well as you do.
Exactly.
And aren't as blessed.
And I guess finding a way to bring that love and compassion and understanding to at least the people that we can reach, which is, our close-knit group of friends, to continue to educate ourselves and educate them. I feel like a sense of responsibility to be part of the solution and not be part of the problem. And I think the big thing is to, we live in such a diverse community in Miami. I think we all have friends from all over the world and from all different religions and from all different walks of life. And I think bringing that compassion to the people around us and educating that we're all the same. At the end of the day, we all are daughters, mothers, we are all the same. And how do we continue to do what we do and continue to educate and educate ourselves as well? I was just on the phone with one of our sons, and he's traveling all over the world, and I think that was my biggest mission for him, is for both of them, for them to travel as much as possible so they can see for themselves that no matter what religion you encounter or what culture you encounter or what different society, at the end of the day, we're all the same. And that's been my biggest mission for them, and hopefully they will be giving back to society in a positive way.
Yeah. The world is so big.
It is.
We're like
and
such
so
a
small too.
little percentage. Yeah.
It's so big and so small
at the same time.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do when we travel, I remember specifically being in Egypt. We got one of these tour guides, and I always like to ask, how's their lives? What do they do? What how their church, their community, what does that look like for them? And every place that I've traveled all over the world, the commonality is we all want love, peace, and to feel understood, and basic rights, right?
Yeah, right.
So hopefully we can continue as a society to come from a place of love and understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And spread the love.
Yeah. As interior designers, I think we came to this industry, right, to make people happy, to heal through creating environments where people feel nurtured and safe. And more than ever, I think we've had such a boom in our industry because people are looking for that. They're looking
for comfort
and for a safe haven in their world, which has been great for us. And what I always like when we're interviewing our clients is to hear what does that look like for them. And sometimes they don't even know what that looks like. But we all know in this world we're living in, and after what we went through with COVID, we don't know when the next, outbreak is going to be. God. And I think there's still a fear of that because it was such a dramatic thing to our world that people are still investing in their homes and creating more of a sanctuary and more of a haven, from the gyms to the wellness to home theaters to home offices. And our world changed forever.
Safety, you want
safety.
A safe space.
Exactly.
You want to create a safe space and you want to have one. So
on a positive note, what are some of the things that you went through as JPID? Like some positive things that happened to you
in my business this year. It was, I'd like to say 2023 for me was the year of lessons. And, from beginning to now, and even, just obviously we learn as we go, but, a lot. Like I had my, opened my studio in October of 2022. And so now I know what overhead feels like. I have my first full-time employee, which I absolutely love. She's like, I could be her mom. She's very young. She's great. She's actually she's our podcast coordinator, which does a great job of setting us up every week. And she's very patient with us because we're so demanding and spoiled. But she's been like, I don't like. Sometimes I look at her and I'm like, how did I do this without her?
Aww.
Like, how did I do this by myself so many years?
So nice.
So I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful for her, and having my office, it feels great. Like I can actually leave my computer at the office and go home and like work ends. And that feels so good.
So do you feel like emotionally, physically, the change from working at home to now having your own office space, what a difference it made for you?
Definitely.
How do you feel? Talk about that a little bit.
I feel more like I can disconnect a little bit. I mean, I still have my phone and I bring my iPad with me, but honestly, I go home and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done for the day. Whereas when I worked from home, I had my computer right there. Like everywhere I would look, it would be like, oh, I have a few minutes after dinner. Let me just check some email, or it would always be like in my face. Where now it's at the office and, oh, I don't have, my computer. I don't have access to Ivy. Like, okay, I'm going to have to do it in the morning.
Right.
So yeah, it's like a sense of like kind of freedom. Like we don't realize how connected we are to work and to our businesses, especially as a solopreneur, because you're like always thinking of what you have to do tomorrow and what needs to be done and the money you have to collect and all the pending to-do items. So like when it's I work when I'm at work and then I work when I want to when I'm at home, and that's huge. It was a huge shift for me and it feels liberating, honestly.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. And lessons, like I said, dealing with certain projects and people, and a team member I had to let go because it didn't work out. And that was a huge learning curve for me, is learning who to trust with your business.
Absolutely.
And really vetting the employees and the team members that you bring in. That's so important. So, especially when you're trying to grow your team, you don't realize like this person that comes in it's like bringing in a family member. It's so important to make sure that they are aligned with your vision of your company and they're going to represent your company the way you would. And that was a huge lesson for me, and now going forward, I know that this person has to be like, an extension of me and my brands and my business. So that was great. Like, and there's always other personal things that you're learning, I learned throughout the process, but yeah. How about you? I know you have a lot of exciting things.
Oh my God.
You're like nonstop though.
So everybody that knows me, they're like, Giselle, like some of them are concerned, they're like, are you okay? Are you putting too much on your plate? I'm one of those people that find a lot of joy in creating new things, new adventures, new businesses, new things like that. I just thrive on that. I get such a kick out of it. I get such a sense of accomplishment by creating something new and having it develop. Definitely, I'm learning balance, and I'm also trying to have a better understanding of what it is just to be quiet and find a place of peace and serenity in knowing that I am enough just with who I am, and I don't need validations by doing so many things. And this has been my learning lesson. As much as I take such joy in creating new projects, obviously we've had our podcast that I'm extremely proud of, and I'm really excited to see where we take it next year. I know that we continue to improve, and we're so critical. Every time we watch a podcast, we're like, the sound needs to be better.
We're the hardest judge.
We're the hardest judge on us, but I'm excited about taking to the next step and what we have talked about and what our viewers and listeners are going to be a part of. That gives me a lot of pride, but more than anything is the connection that you and I have had as friends. Each episode has been therapy in many ways for me individually. When I listen back to it and kind of hear myself or hear you speak or our guests, it's been a form of therapy and also this reconnection in such a deep level. What everybody should know is a lot of these topics we do research about. So researching them has also been a sense of awareness, of like a sense of awakening within me, emotionally and spiritually, and definitely in our friendship. And also, it's nice to not have everything on me. I like sharing the responsibility with you.
Yeah.
And seeing how we plus each other. You know, B and G isn't B and G, it's B plus G.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Brett, you know, with my husband. He's my partner, and it's how we plus each other. And I'm such a big believer that we're so much better when we have the right people around us to continue to plus our work or ideas. Mm-hmm. It's so much better that way. And that's another thing that another lesson that I've learned this year is, you know, we've gotten, we're now the dealers of Molanova Miami, and we have
So exciting.
It's so exciting, and they are an international company. So it's always just been, you know, B&G has been Brent and myself, and kind of everything that you guys see has been done by us and our staff and, you know, the group of people that we have support us, but it's nothing like having a major company, an international company with corporate headquarters and their sense of resources behind us. Yeah. So I'm really excited to be a part of this family that is international. They have offices all over the world. And we got, this year we visited, you know, their Marbella showroom, which is beautiful.
Where are the headquarters?
In Italy, in Veneto.
Oh, so are we going to see it when we go?
Yeah, absolutely.
For the show in Milan?
I don't know if we're going to be able to actually go to Veneto. Probably not. It won't give us enough time. But part of what we're planning, as you know, our clients are now designers, architects, developers, and of course the end user as well. But you know, we're planning this whole kind of marketing, branding thing, which we're going to be bringing visitors to the showroom, and then we have some special things coming up, you know, during the Salone, and which, you know, we'll talk about. But it's just really an exciting time. We also moved into our offices this year, and that's been huge for us because being, you know, my partner is my husband, so there was no kind of, you know, there was no stop for us. It was always on because we were working from home, and we ended up working from home for like 3 years without an office, and we were accustomed to having the structure of an office and a staff and samples and everything, and just being in the Miami Design District and having awesome neighbors at our design hood, and just the proximity of all the showrooms has been definitely a game changer. And for the kind of personality I have, to have that structure of coming to the office and just like you leaving it and then going home has been a game changer for us. Definitely has helped my quality of life with my husband and partner. There is definitely a cutoff point.
Does it feel, since you both live together and work together, does your office feel like a second home?
It does.
Does it feel like it's just your office space? Like,
it's a little bit of both.
How connected are you to it when it comes to that?
I'm able to disconnect now.
Yeah.
And that's a new thing for me because I always brought work home, and, you know, Brett would be the one who would tell me, babe, stop.
Right.
Stop. You know, like, let it go. Turn it off. And I finally have done that. I finally am able to do that. I think I could probably do a better job of disconnecting to social media probably, you know, but I'm being more mindful of that, of spending more one-on-one quality time with him, to the point that it's crazy. Now I crave it. Now I'm telling him, get off the phone.
Yeah.
You know, and
you get spoiled.
You get spoiled.
Because you actually have time for yourself. I feel guilty sometimes, like, God, I really should be like working on something right now, but I'm like, actually, you know, being on my sofa with my Cavapoo is like, with my puppy and cuddling with her feels like this is what I want to be doing right now.
Yeah. It's funny. I do the same thing, obviously, with Barky.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody follows me on my personal social media, I'm always.
Oh my gosh, she's totally my emotional support companion.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think I'm Barky's emotional support companion. I think it's the other way around with our situation. But shutting it off has been a major game changer for us. God, it's just been like a crazy year. Also seeing our sons continue to grow. My stepdaughter got married.
More independent. Their boys are so independent now.
Extremely.
They're like men. They have their own apartments.
And girlfriends.
Oh my God. I remember when they were in here.
In my belly.
It's so crazy.
I know.
And they're adorable. Like the conversations that they call you and talk to you. I mean, that must be the most rewarding feeling of being a mom and having your children at a certain age where they call you and they actually like ask you like for real like grown up advice and like what they're thinking and what's going on in their mind. Like it's beautiful.
We're at the stage now where I feel a sense of awareness from them of who we are as adults.
Yeah.
Not as parents, but what we have accomplished in our businesses, in our health journey. Like, it's crazy to hear our sons mention, like, Mom, you and Dad, you and Brett are like vampires. And I'm like, what do you mean vampires? They're like, you look so good. I'm like, really? Us? We look good?
This shit ain't cheap.
All right. No, but
I better because.
But it's interesting now they're at an age where I'm like, well, we do testosterone.
Yeah.
We have our hormones check. I stopped drinking. The genetic issue with the drinking, it's something that I have to educate them because they might have the same genetic issue.
That's so important.
Where their liver doesn't process toxins well, and that kind of situation. But it's interesting to hear them notice our lifestyle, and I think they are proud of us. And for the first time, I feel like I'm really being seen as a whole, not just the mom and the provider. So it's a nice place to be. They're coming into town for the holidays. I can't wait to have those long, yummy conversations that are usually way over my head because they're such highly intellectual kids. And I'm like, that's when I'm like, babe, but they know who to direct what to. Right. It's really nice that the kind of people they're blossoming. And I'm so glad that I did the homework, when I was first bringing them up, and I wanted to bring them up differently. And I wanted to empower them as individuals. Mm-hmm. These kids they're borrowed. And we grew up where I brought you into this world, I could take you out. That was the kind of mentality we brought, and I wanted it to be different.
Yeah, you wanted to change that narrative.
And now
I'm blessed to have you in my life.
It's the other way around. It's the other way around. They are my gift.
Yeah.
To me.
Right.
They're not an extension of me. They are their own individual people, and so I need to respect them and respect their journey. So it's been an ever-evolving conversation, and I'm still learning how to be the kind of parent they need. I think we never stop learning, even as parents. So, and a sense of responsibility, too.
Yeah.
With what's happening in the world, being a parent of 2 college students in big metropolitan cities has been excruciating at times.
How old were you when you had them?
Alessandro, I was 26, and then Max right after, because
that's
remember
right.
3 months after I get pregnant.
You were pregnant
3 months,
2 years in a row.
2 years. I was pregnant for 2 years. They're called Irish twins. They have.
Is that what they call it?
Yes, they hate it because they're the same age for 4 days.
Were you
It was a surprise. I didn't know.
I know, but Okay, so when you found out you were pregnant again for the second time, right after you just had had your first, and it was hard, obviously, because your first child is always like,
So hard.
yeah, because it's the unknown, right?
Right.
Did you ever say, oh my God, no, I can't do this? And did you ever question whether you should have your second child? Or did you say, I don't care what it takes, I'm gonna
Well, first of all, yes, I did question to have a second child because I was high risk pregnancy the first time. I had trouble conceiving even at that young age. I had been married already 5 years, and it was like, okay, now it's time to have kids. I wanted to have kids. We wanted to have kids. So I was high risk pregnancy, really bad. Really bad.
You weren't on bed rest though.
I was supposed to, at the end, I was in bed rest.
Okay.
And I also was a month premature. And then, so a month premature, that's a preemie baby with health issues, reflux, horrible eczema. I had a nightmare with the first child, and it happened again with Max. So of course I was questioning whether to have it. Plus I was like, oh my God, I want to give all my love and all my energy into
the first
one. So I was like, I didn't know how I was going to be able to share.
Yeah.
It was already so stressful on my body. It was stressful on Alessandro too, because he was a preemie, and he had all these health issues.
He needed extra attention.
He did. We all needed extra attention. Yeah. And I was working for the firm where we met.
Yeah.
Which they weren't flexible about maternity leave. They weren't flexible about time off. They
were like, you want time off again?
Exactly.
Like, we just gave you, 3 months maternity
No,
leave?
I took 2 weeks vacation time, and I was back.
And it was vacation time.
Vacation time. So there was no maternity leave. And then on top, so of course I was concerned about the second one.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was too soon, for my body, because I hadn't felt like I had recovered from the first one. And while I was giving birth, I had issues. So it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. So yes, it was a big issue.
Yeah, but you had the choice. So let's connect this now to the abortion ban, because this is like such an important topic of a woman's right to decide whether she wants to keep her pregnancy or not. Mm-hmm. And as much as women have fought and have suffered for years to have that right for it to be taken away from politicians that don't understand, like, it's just your God-given right, and it doesn't even, rape, incest, all those horrible things, yes, you need to have that choice. But even you married, and having, a second child, and that maybe you can't afford it. Maybe you can't, maybe your marriage isn't in the right place. Maybe you're, and it's just not right, or not the right timing. Not having that right to terminate a pregnancy. Within reason. Obviously, you're not going to terminate a pregnancy that's so far along, but like, it just boggles my mind how that shouldn't even be questioned. It shouldn't even be like anybody else's decision but the woman's decision.
I absolutely 100% agree. And I feel like in so many instances, I feel like we're going backwards instead of forward. What happened
It's heartbreaking.
It is. And we can go on and on about different rights that are being taken away from us. That seems like we're going backwards, and I'm not sure what the hell is happening.
Yeah.
But all I can say is we have to speak up. We have to make a difference. No man should tell us what to do with our own bodies.
Yeah, and what's happening now though is that women are being forced, the women that live in the states that have banned it, they're being forced now to buy, medications overseas from these countries that you don't even know what you're taking. You're putting your life at risk, or they're having to go to the states where it isn't, where it's still legal to have their abortions. Like already you're going through an emotional toll because it's not an easy decision to make. And now you're having to go through this whole thing when, this is like the land of the free and the home of the brave. It takes someone to be brave enough to say, I don't want this, this is a decision I need to make. It's a hard decision for a woman to make to begin with.
What's interesting, I have clients that are in their 70s who were big activists during that time, lawyers, big activists. And I remember one of the stories the wife was telling me, which she was taking women to a safe center back in the 60s because it wasn't legal to get an abortion, an abortion. And she would tell me these horrible stories.
Oh my God, like the hangers.
That's just horrible stories.
God, I know.
And I'm like, where are we today? And why are we going backwards? I feel in so many different aspects. And that's where, for me, it's been this hard thing to deal with, dealing with, this very lavish lifestyle that we provide for our clients and for ourselves and that we're living in. And then we're having situations like this happen. To me, there's a bit of a disconnect.
A big disconnect.
A big disconnect. Yeah. And I want to find a way where we can be more involved in women's rights. And what better than us women to support this cause and to have a better understanding and continue to educate the public of what it is that we need and history. Look from the past, learn from our past. Let's not make the same mistakes. Let's grow from it. And I think we need to bring that into 2024. Like, what can we do as a society to make it better for all of us?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if we don't speak up for our rights, and what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I feel like we're continue to go backwards in so many ways. And then what's crazy is now we're losing our rights, but then technology has advanced so far, from AI that we're now using it in our businesses.
Right.
Which that's really exciting and great, but how
it's
do we...
going backwards to forwards.
It's like, what is this?
2 steps forward and 5 steps back.
Exactly.
Like I say with everything in life, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And part of our research when I was looking at like the major things that happened this year was also space travel, and I'm like, okay, here we're going to space and doing all these like amazing things with technology, and the advancements, but yet basic rights are being questioned.
Yeah.
Or as a parent, I have to worry about gun violence, and my children's safety, and all these protests that are happening. So this is a real concern for all of us, is just safety, basic safety.
Yeah.
So it's I think a bizarre way to feel when we feel like we think we've made all these advancements.
Yeah, there's a disconnect there. There's a disconnect. I think I think politicians have too much power over everything. I mean, all the leaders, even connecting it to the wars, it all goes back to those that are in control of all these countries, of the things that are happening, what they're allowing to happen. So that we can go on and on that, but let's talk about something. Okay, something really real is inflation, and it's going back to now the supply chain issues that we had from COVID, right? So it's been like a little like a kind of a domino effect. But now in 2023, I don't know about you, but this is insane. Like the prices of food have gone up. How much is it? Up 5% just in the of 2023. Like Uber Eats now. Have you seen like the price of a salad? It's like this, and the portions are getting smaller, but the prices are going up higher. You're having to tip these enormous amounts of money for non-service industry providers, like going to like a random store, like the hardware store, and you're like tapping your credit card, they're asking you to tip them.
Yep.
You know, it's like a real thing. I mean, it's been on the news and everything. Like we were talking about tipping fatigue. Everybody's like, I have to tip everybody now? Like they're like shoving it down your throat.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're saying that inflation has only gone up 3%, but it feels like a lot more than that.
Listen, you can't step out of the house without spending so much money. From parking alone, the cost of parking in Miami has gone crazy.
Yeah.
To
Miami, imagine New York. I mean,
right.
It was so much. This is cheap compared to up there.
I know. Remember, I have a son in New York, so I'm paying for that.
Yeah, you're paying for his parking.
Girl.
And it's not even like pay by phone. That's like garage parking. That you have to pay like what, $100 a day. It's insane.
The cost. Well, he doesn't have a car, thank God.
Okay.
Thank God he does public transportation.
Uber, which Uber's not cheap either.
No. Listen, the cost of everything has gone way up. It's insane.
Yeah.
The amount that we're paying for everything. When it's funny because everybody's like, oh, you know, you have this going on or that going on. I'm like, kids are expensive in college.
Yeah.
Life is expensive.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I gotta work.
Yeah, cost of living, you know, just everything.
Exactly.
Across the board.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. You know what? One of the things I wanted to talk about in our industry is this sense of nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Like
going back to the basics.
What I've noticed.
I like it. I mean, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if they're going to come back. They're going to bring back the phones with like the wires. Like remember back in the day, like the landline.
Well, funny you should say that.
Those are probably worth so much money now. They're antiques. Can you imagine if we kept ours? Remember, I had. Remember the ones
dial?
Ones that were lips.
Oh, of course. They're so cute.
I had
the
a lip phone.
You did? I could totally see that.
I should have kept it.
Well, they've come up with a cell phone that has no, like, it's just a phone. No social media,
internet,
like none of that, going back to basics, because people are having kind of this reaction to all this social media and this disconnect with each other because of social media. So that's really interesting to me. Decor too, like I call it the grandma look, you know, where it looks like grandma, shabby chic grandma look, from Soho House to all these restaurants and hotels. It's like this sense of nostalgia that everybody's kind of craving, this like sense of home and coziness. And I think it's a reaction to all this stuff that's going on in our world. Everybody wants to feel like a sense of like calmness and hominess.
History too.
And history, right.
Yeah,
going
like
back to
antiques are like really hot right now too.
Going back to old record players has been, there's been a surge about that. There's been like this whole surge of so many college kids watch Friends.
I know. I spoke to someone the other night, and they were like, "I don't watch TV." And that's someone in our age group. I don't watch TV like Netflix. Like I'm like, you don't stream? Yeah. And I like caught myself for a minute. I'm like, wow, I've become one of those people. Like we're just so used to a certain like. That the technology, you know, we have our phones, our iPads, like Bluetooth, everything, and it's like you see somebody that like has like the old school headphones, and you're just like
well, those old school headphones with the wire. The reason they're going back to that is because it's better for you because of all the, what is it called, the wave,
radio,
I don't know enough. I don't know, but I know it's
Right.
better for you to have the.
That's awful because I sleep with my noise cancellation
Oh, I know, that kills me.
pods every night. It's the only. I've gotten so used to having noise cancellation
bad for you.
that I can't sleep without them now. Even when I travel now, I have to have them.
No.
And I know it's probably like
It's so bad for you.
Yeah,
it's so
I
bad for
know.
you. We gotta change that in 2024.
My ears are too little. The little like earplugs pop out, and those stay in like snug. So like that's why. But I know it's just all right. I'm gonna cut it out.
You have to, because all that, like,
I'm gonna try, but it's not easy.
I know.
I need silence when I sleep.
Maybe the, like, you know, that sound, they have like the sound that you could play,
like
white noise. Maybe a white
Yeah.
noise thing that you keep in
No,
your
I
room.
want it quiet, like not a pin drop quiet. And I live on Biscayne Boulevard. So imagine, that's why I'll just move to the country.
There
I'll get
you
out
go.
of the city.
There you go. Do you know some people have
I
like
became so sensitive to like
Sound?
sounds, like anything loud. Do you feel that way? I'm
sometimes
becoming one of those like old ladies, I guess.
sometimes, but I like, if I can't sleep, I put the spa
I mean, I
music
like my
on.
music loud, but I like rest. Oh, the spa.
Yeah, I like
that's always
when I
nice.
can't sleep, I'll be like, let's put the spa music on, and that kind of like, or I'll put a meditation on.
Yeah.
But I put it on the speakers. I don't put it in my ears.
Really? See,
Mm-hmm.
no, I have to hear it like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, all this technology. I mean, look, AI. So AI launched, ChatGPT launched in November of 2022. Listen to this. Within the first 3 days of launching that app, they had 1 million downloads.
Wow.
By January of 2023, they went up to 100 million downloads, the highest downloaded app in history. And it's incredible. And at first, at least especially I know designers, I'm sure you've seen the posts on Instagram, whatever, of how you could like do like an AI generated interior, like you like upload a picture of your home.
Yeah.
And you want like, I don't know, Moroccan or whatever, and it'll boom, like, at first I was like, oh, great. Like we're going to get replaced too. But now I feel like the reality is that cannot replace a designer. It cannot replace a person who's going to execute the design.
Right.
Maybe it's good for the person who may think they want a certain look and they just want to see how it would look, but it doesn't replace, because it's a lot of work what we do. That's
It's a lot of
impossible.
work.
But I'm sure it has eliminated a lot of copywriters, probably have taken a big hit this year. I think 2023 is when I've really seen the boom, because now there's apps for everything. Canva has an AI caption generator. ChatGPT, like I've written a legal letter on ChatGPT myself. Like I would have had to hire an attorney, like sorry attorneys.
Right.
But I mean, it was like a simple little like a letter, but ChatGPT wrote it for
It's
me, and it was
amazing.
beautifully crafted. I actually showed it to an attorney friend of mine, and he was impressed. And he's like, that letter would have cost $500,
Wow.
not including the time of me telling him the whole background, the story, whatever. And that would have been, I just think, you know what, if you can't beat them, join them, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love technology.
Yeah.
So we started using the VR. We got the goggles. We have the virtual thing, where people feel really immersed in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited about that technology, because it's like one of those like major game changers, not only for our clients to be able to see our vision, but as a designer to be able to really be able to look up, down, all the way around.
Yeah.
And
So for those who don't know what VR is,
Yeah.
so it's basically like animating a rendering,
yeah,
like just
but
basically, but it's obviously
Immersive.
It's an immersive experience, right? You're in the space, like
it makes you feel like you're in the design space, like walking through your living room, walking through your kitchen, and being able to see the details of the ceilings, the lighting,
So
the
you
cabinetry.
need, in order for somebody to produce this for you for a project,
Right.
you need a lot of information. You need
You
to
do.
give them not only the files, the CAD files, but you also need heights and elevations and all the details.
It's a lot of
Everything
work.
has to be completely
And it's expensive.
designed, and of course
It's expensive because, you know, we outsource that.
yeah.
That's one of the things that we have decided to do in our business is to outsource more of the tasks like
The
this.
tech.
So,
Yeah.
for instance, what we do is I'll give them the presentation. I'll give the renderer who's creating this VR all the details. So the presentation will have every spec on all the products
Every
we're
light
using,
fixture,
every light
paint
fixture,
color,
all the
wallpaper.
elevations, all the floor plans. It's extremely detailed and extremely tedious, but I think it's well worth it because, you know, not only does the client get to see it, but you get to see it and you get to make adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're doing an elevation, you're able to see certain things, but not at the extent of, I'll give you an example, how like the cabinetry is going to meet to the doors or
Yeah.
the ceilings, or how things are going to be lit, how the transition from one space to another relates to.
Yeah.
So I think it's an amazing tool. We started, we posted one of our videos that we had them also create for us. So not only are they creating that experience, but they're doing a series for us for social media. So, you know, people's attention span in social media is so much shorter. So we're doing them bite size so they could kind of go through that immersive experience as much as you can through, you know, a little phone screen. So I'm excited about technology and continuing to develop that, and also bringing our brand to the next level, you know, is by giving these immersive experiences and really upping our game when it comes to details. You know, we're known for those quiet design details,
But cutting edge.
but cutting edge, exactly.
Yes, you want the technology that's going to match it.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's funny because we're talking about this like cutting revolutionary
Yeah.
technology now that designers can use, but then let's go back to the nostalgia like aspect of it. Remember when it was hand renderings? When it was watercolor,
Oh,
what
that was
we
so
what we
pretty.
learned in design school. I actually enjoyed that part of design school the most, was like because it became an art. You know, like design is so creative and so technological, but it became an art, being able to like blend the colors
Yeah,
and like
it's
the
so fun.
sky and like coloring the sky, you know. Do you think I still find that there's a value to that type of illustration, but I think it's for the right type of interior.
Yeah.
I think if it's a more classic traditional interior, I think a beautiful hand drawn rendering. But if it's like a modern, like, you know, really sleek space, I think having something like this, like the VR, and being able to like walk through, I think is like so much, it's powerful for that.
This is where I become a little bit of a tech snob.
You're like, no, I want it all like that.
No,
I love a virtual rendering. I love a rendering.
I can't go back after
Yeah.
seeing the technology and what it's capable of doing, and in our fast-paced world of like trying to
Who's got the time for that?
right
to sit down and
right
draw?
Listen, I want to paint, and I used to be like
As a hobby.
I used to be a
But
pretty
can you imagine painting all your renderings, every room?
I don't
there's
have
no
the
way.
patience.
No, there's no way.
Plus, you know,
There's no time.
part of my goal is to be as productive as possible in my work period, so then I could go home and relax. So the more efficient I do things, especially now having multiple businesses, the better it is, the more productive I feel. I wish I could have the time to sit there and color, but I figure I'll do that when I retire, if I ever retire, which probably I'll never retire, you know. I'll be one of those.
You will.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans for my retirement, Janet? What are we gonna do?
We're gonna retire together.
Can we have like those side by side like houses? Maybe even a connecting
I
little,
would love
collecting little hallway. You know,
that's so cute. I would love that.
I know. I want to be one of those
Yeah.
viejitas, the old women that we like.
We'll take up gardening.
Oh, I love that.
And cooking and baking
And painting.
and painting.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
Hopefully in Italy.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, that's where I want.
Yeah,
I want
definitely not Miami.
I want our second home to be in Italy.
Yeah.
Especially now with Molanova and having to like go visit there anyways. I think that's gonna be like our dream thing. And I have this like amazing visual. Talk about manifesting. I feel that I've become a very good manifester, and part of that is, for me, has been really talking about every little detail of what I want to manifest.
Yeah, visualizing it,
Visualizing. I
have to get better at that.
I've never been one to like cut magazines and put them on a board or anything, but I've been told that doing a visual is actually really good. They say that your angels see it and they're able to transmit that. For me, it's been more of like talking about it with you, with Brett, you know, with my close-knit friend group of what I want to visualize. And I feel like almost a sense of responsibility because I'm a person of my word. And I feel like if I say I'm going to do something to you, I better bring it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of those people that are like, oh, so many things I want to do. No, I'm going to bring it.
Yeah.
So I like the sense of accountability when I tell somebody I'm going to do something. And the other day I got kind of called out too. I was talking to one of my good friends, Jay, who's also a designer, and I was telling him about one of our ideas. And he's like, girl, you've been talking about that for a long time. And I was like, snap. He totally called me out. And I'm like, that's it.
It's true.
That's it. I'm going to do it.
Sometimes things take time. You know.
Have you met me? Do you know me?
No, but see, you're like right now, like just blah. I'm more of a you are. I'm more like, okay, methodical, like steps, you know, like I gotta do this first, and then this, and then this, and then this. You know, but you're like, no.
Well, they say the people you choose to be around you, you subliminally pick out people that complement your energy. So what's interesting, and I haven't talked to you about this, but I've been giving it a lot of thought. Both you and Brett are both methodical, analytical. That's like your strength. And for me, I'm kind of like hyper, and I'm a big idea person, and I'm a little like all over the place at times until like I really narrow down my brain. I have to like really focus on that one thing because I have like a million ideas. So it's funny that I've chosen you guys to be in my life because you guys help me stay focused and balanced about like, you're like, no, Giselle, okay, wait. And even
like, we can't just post this.
No, we can't
have
just
to, like, hold on.
I'm like, let's get it done. Let's do it. What are we doing? Let's get it done. That's my energy. And I chose people like you guys, but I also feel like, okay, I bring things to the table because I'm a big dreamer and a big thinker and a big idea person. And I feel that I've definitely push Brett to get out of his comfort zone.
But you do the same with me though.
Good. I'm glad.
So we like
it's a compliment.
We compliment each other, you know, because then I'm like, oh, like, yeah, like thanks.
Right, exactly.
Thanks for pushing me. Remember when you pushed me to get my own place?
I did.
My first apartment.
I did.
And I was like, oh, I'm like, you know, Cuban moms, like Latin moms, period. Like you could live at home till you're like 60, like seriously, like your whole life. So, you know, Cuban, you know, you could stay at home forever till you have gray hair.
Yeah.
And I was like 30 years old and I was working with the B&G and you were like, it's time. Come on, girl, get your own place. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, but how am I going to be able to afford it? Oh my God, of course, overthinking, because that's my middle name. Oh my God, like, would I have to furnish it and blah, blah, blah. And like, you pushed me and you were like, there's a new building that just got built right there. Go over there. Remember that?
Yeah, barely.
And
it's a long time ago.
And I was like, and you're like, go now. Like, you even told me, like, it was like the middle of the workday. You're like, go now. Like, go and look at it.
Yeah.
And it just happened so fast. And then, like, it was normally something I wouldn't do. I was like, no, I got to think about this. I got to analyze it. I got to make sure. And it was the best thing that I did.
Oh, that makes me so
you
happy.
know, and you pushed me. And it was like, that's what I mean by like, if it was up to me, I would have like, I would have been 35 and still living at home with my mom, you know, but like you really pushed me. And it's like you, people like me need people like you in our lives, and because
and people like me need people like you, and that's the plusing, you know, each other, and that's where like that's why it's such an important thing to have a sense of community. And for a long time, I didn't understand the importance of that because I was so jaded with relationships that I felt so hurt from.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've worked really hard to heal my relationships with women, with my friends, and really focusing on the relationships that matter and the relationships that understand that it's a give and take, you know? And I think we have an amazing friendship that continues to grow and evolve. And this podcast is such an amazing mirror for us.
Yeah.
And I love how it pushes us out of our comfort zones, both of us. And it brings us a sense of like, I feel a sense of responsibility not to let you down. Yeah. And it pushes me to now, you know, do our merch, which is going to come up next year, and some other really special things we've wanted to do for such a long time.
I know.
And I love the fact that I get to do it with my BFF. And that we get to continue to share life together and grow together. And at the end of the day, I think the world needs more of that healing, you know,
community,
the sense of community, the sense of love, giving back, believing again that there's good people in this world worth investing the energy to. I think we get so hurt sometimes that we don't give people a chance. And my lesson has been, you know, there's my story, but there's also other people's story and their perspective and their way of thinking and where they're at in their lives. And if the world could have more of that empathy, understanding, love, compassion, I think we would all be in a much better place. And that's the kind of world that I want for our children and for my grandchildren and for the rest of the world. Yeah. And I think with that, it's a good place for us to wrap this. And I'm emotional a little bit. Like I have a little chills all over my body because I guess I'm hurting so much for what we're going through in this world. And then at the same time, I'm like, I feel like such a bipolar mess right now because I'm like so happy because of what we're doing, what's happening.
All the blessings.
All the blessings we have, all the blessings we're having in Miami. And, you know, one of the highlights that I want to just kind of shake it up a little bit is we had the honor of having Maluma record his music video, Coco Loco, at our home. And I got a chance.
That's so exciting.
And I got a chance to meet him. And what a down-to-earth kind of guy. First of all, sexy as shit, man. Oh, my God.
I'm like... you have Maluma on your sofa, on your Minotti sofa.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That sofa has seen a lot of action.
I'm like rubbing my cheek.
All right. Exactly. But that was such a cool thing. And I think it was like, you know, like I've told you before, I work so hard and I'm like a horse with blinders on that I sometimes forget to sit back and kind of look at all that we've accomplished and kind of say, hey, you did a good job. Hey, you did a good job. You know, for myself, I tend to do it for other people. And that was one of those surreal moments where like, Maluma likes our home? That's so freaking cool.
I
It was one of
know.
those
Course.
humbling moments.
Yeah.
And, the attention that we've gotten in our home has been freaking crazy. And
Beautiful.
I just want to level up, continue to level it up, and bring not only our designs to a better place and leveling it up, but new ways of showing our work, expressing, being more in touch with who we're designing for and who's seeing it, and I'm not sure what that looks like, and that's something that I plan to really work on during the holiday, is like kind of get quiet and reassess this. And the other thing that I was planning to do, which I think is a great tip that I listened to, was there's a couple that I saw on social media that like has a meeting of what their next year is going to look like. It's like whiteboard with their notes, two very successful
strategizing.
a strategy as a couple.
That's great.
Right? And I saw that, and I see them like writing on the boards their different ideas and everything, and it made me think, with our world changing so much all the time, right? And we change along with it. And I think it's important to reconnect with your significant other and say, hey, what do you want the next year to look like? Not only for us as a couple and in business, for our families, for our children's, for ourselves as individuals. What does that look like? And let's make sure we're in line with that.
I love that.
So that's something that
awesome.
I really want to do,
Yeah.
both with you
Yeah.
and also with Brett, to kind of assess, what do we want this to look like? And I'm planning to do that on a personal level and in business as well, because it's changing. We're ever evolving human beings, and our needs change and our wants change, and it's okay to change our minds.
Right. But it's good to have your focus too.
Exactly.
To keep your focus.
Exactly.
'Cause you get so stuck and busy, and everything else like pops up like unexpectedly, but you have to like keep your eyes on that prize, that you want.
What are
And that's
what are some like ways that you're planning to like bring in the new year? Any resolutions you have?
Yes, I do have some. I mean, you can always, start clean out the slate and start fresh. It doesn't have to be the beginning of the year, but yes, it's like something about the energy of a new year, like cleaning out. I need to organize myself, and I need to purge.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like, I want to Marie Kondo my life.
Yeah.
I want to just like get rid of things that don't serve me, like emotionally and physically, materialistically. Like, I have like my Poshmark closet that keeps growing, and it's like things I'm holding on to that I don't need and I don't want and I don't care for. Like, I just want to get rid of all of that, because all of that, it's almost like
it's energy,
creating space, and I want to clear the space. That's what I want to do for next year. I want to create space in my life for new things, good things, better things, and it'll just invite it. You know what I mean? But I got to get rid of all the things that are holding me down in order to receive the new, So that's really what I want to focus on.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a million other things.
The other day, I pretty much said out loud, it was a sunrise, and I'm a morning person, so it was a brand new sunrise, and we recently had these amazing clients that we just signed up, and the energy was different, and they come from a place of gratitude for working along with them. And prior to that, we had let go of three projects for this one client, because we were just not aligned. And that's one of the things that I've said is like, God, bring me people that appreciate what we do, that want to work with us in conjunction, of a complete alignment of understanding.
Yeah.
And the lesson that I learned this year has been make sure you have room for those clients and for those employees. I also went through a little bit of a turnover, and I want to bring people in my life, whether it's my friend group or my clients or my trades. I want to bring people into my life that bring joy, fulfillment, respect, happiness, like that we're aligned, because we're not promised tomorrow. We only are promised this moment right now. Mm-hmm. And I want to continue to enjoy the process of creating. Like, I want to enjoy the day to day. I don't want it to feel like it's a burden on me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of times that it's this energy that I want to make sure that I'm bringing into our home and an environment. Yeah. And I think that's going to be my biggest resolution, at the end of the year, when I pray, and what I want to manifest is kind, loving people around me. Yeah. That see me, for who I really am, mm-hmm. not this facade of everything else,
right.
materialistic
mm-hmm.
facade that we bring in, but the spiritual human being that I am, the empathy that I bring, and the visionary that I am, and just having people in my world like that. And I think we're well underway.
Absolutely.
Don't you feel like lately the energy has changed in that aspect?
And it's getting older too, you're realizing what's important to you, and that's like another great thing about being like in our age group, that we're young, but we're old enough to know better, but we're still young.
It's a good place.
And we're realizing really what's important. And it may not be stuff, or even people, but it's a feeling that's important.
It is.
It's more like, I don't know, just you're energetically, your energy, your feeling, like how you feel, how people make you feel, how you feel at the moment,
I want to continue to explore bringing those tools to our audience that we're learning about. From, healing with energy, with crystals. There's all this stuff that's out there that, I know we're going to be interviewing next year people that bring that to the table. Not only are our viewers going to learn, but we're going to learn along with them. Yeah. And I think that's a place of giving back to our community. And hopefully everybody finds some peace and love in what we're going to be sharing next year.
Yes, absolutely. I hope so.
But most important, I'm thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you too. Oh, you're the best.
You're the best.
And I'm so excited to be doing this.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, this is a dream come true.
It is.
It really is. So thanks again for being here. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And if you're on Spotify, please leave us a quick review and let us know how we're doing. Until the next time, Happy New Year and
Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays. And we will see you in 2024.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for all your love and support.